game's on the line here. 31-28 Georgia. Dobbs out of the shotgun. Back to throw. Dobbs drops back. Looks. Loads up. Fires long for the end zone. The pass is going to be caught by Tennessee.
Tennessee wins!
Caught it by Tennessee. Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch in the end zone on the Hail Mary.
Where were you for the miracle in Athens? Where were you for the catch? Where were you for the Dobbs nail boot on their throat? That's where we're starting this thing. Welcome to Talkin VAWLS episode. What is this? Episode 6?
I believe so.
My name's Boogie Bentley, joined as I will be every single week with Jason Phillips.
What's going on, Boogie?
I am on cloud nine, my friend. What's going on? Snake D.A. is in the house as well.
What's going on, guys?
Man, I am at an all-time high. But that's where we're going to start this thing. Where were you? JP, where were you when Josh Dobbs connected with Jawan Jennings to beat the Georgia Bulldogs 34-31? Where were you? What was your reaction? Lay it out for us. That's what I want to hear right now on Talkin VAWLS.
I was sitting in my lucky chair with the somber.
That's why they won. That's why they won.
With a somber face of total despair, disgusting feeling, and then it just turned. Just an instant when he caught that ball, and everything I was saying is it over? Is it over? Has the refs called it over? I was just waiting for a flag or a review or something to screw that up. It was just so unbelievable.
You know what's awesome is Snake just said, in my lucky underwear, I've worn the same draws every week. I ain't gonna lie, I've worn the same pair of boxers for every single game this year. But my reaction was exactly the same. My wife came home right after Eason connected for the big touchdown pass. I had my arms crossed in my recliner, stone cold, looking straight ahead. She didn't say a word. She knew better. She didn't say a word. Stone cold face, was not reacting, was not saying a word. I just sat there. And she just stood in the hallway. The kickoff return, Barry got a good return out across midfield. Stone cold, arms crossed, no reaction. I had no confidence. Dobbs drops back, good pocket, throws it up. I sat there. When Jawan Jennings brought the ball down, I said, oh my gosh. I think I said, oh my gosh, about 40 times. I think I said a few thank you Jesuses in there. And then I said, no, replay. I was so nervous until they showed the replay, and I was like, it don't matter, it's over. It's over. Thank you, Jesus. The game is over. Snake, where were you when we stepped on their throat with the Dobbs nail boot?
I was in my vehicle listening to the game. I was listening to old Bob Kessling. I was coming back from my son's football game, actually. I didn't get to watch it live. And
so weird because my daughter cheers for your son's football team, but I wasn't there because I'm a terrible parent.
Yeah. So I was all mad driving home. Nobody was saying anything in the car. And then the call from Kessling and Tim Priest, Jawan Jennings comes down with it. I almost ran off the road. I'm screaming, reaching back, giving high fives to the kids in the back seat and the other people. And it was pretty exciting.
It didn't feel real, man. It did not feel real for a couple of days. And I cannot tell you how many times I've watched that replay. And, through the Butch Jones era, so many things have just gone against this team. But it feels like this year, man, I hate the saying it feels like 98. But it's nothing but everything is going this team's way, right? Is it not?
Other than the injuries.
Well, injuries and the fumbles didn't go our way this week.
But you include all of that into it.
Yeah.
And this team has still found a way to be 5-0 sitting on top of the East. It's just amazing that there's no explanation.
Yeah, it's amazing. And when you look back, we really should be enjoying this, right? I mean, we just need to sit back and enjoy being at 5-0, and hopefully this run will keep going.
Well, we have our Talkin VAWLS group text. We've had it since we started this podcast, and I knew you were at the kids' football game, and you weren't really responding. Me and JP were going back and forth the entire game. I felt pretty calm. I was pretty calm the entire game, pretty confident the entire game, until Easton connected on the 50-plus yard strike. At that point, 10 seconds, the game's over. I lost all confidence.
Yep.
And wow, it's just such an emotional game, right? You trail, you're down 17, you trail the whole game, you come back, this huge play, sack fumble from Barnett to take the lead. Just how often does that happen in itself? That just a great punt, pin them deep, long snapper goes down and makes a ridiculous play. I mean, come on. I can remember on VolQuest when everybody was ripping Butch for offering that kid a scholarship. And he goes down and he earns that scholarship. What a play.
A heck of a play.
I mean,
he might have saved the season right there.
Seriously, you can laugh and you can joke. What a play from that kid, man.
No doubt.
Just over the shoulder, hustles downfield, downs it inside the 5, and then Barnett goes and makes a play, sack, fumble, touchdown. At that point, well, not even at that point, when Malik Foreman made the interception, I was like, this game's over. I felt so confident, but just you trail the whole game, then all that stuff takes place. You're on a high, then back to a low when Easton connects, then back to the all-time high on the Hail Mary. Just, oh, my goodness. This season has been insanity up to this point. How are they 5-0? I don't know, but like you said, we should just be enjoying it, but so many emotions involved, man.
Well, I definitely felt a whole lot better when the clock struck 0 than I did the 10 seconds prior to that. I know that for sure. I mean, I was sick. I was just had no emotion whatsoever. I mean, lucky I didn't punch the wall, I guess. I don't know, but certainly didn't expect to pull off the Dobbs nail boot for sure.
Dobbs nail boot, we stepped on their throat. Man, CBS, old Bulldog Lundquist, that's what me and old Rocky Manus call him, Bulldog Lundquist. He was loving it. He loved it that they scored. He was on cloud 9. They showed that stupid replay. I was at work during that game, man, and I was going to the break room every few minutes trying to catch up. And Green connects. That game pisses me off to this day. And then they have to show it, right? They have to show it. Man, just
I was in that same end zone when they caught that pass. It was just absolutely disgusting to see that day. But let's talk about the game Saturday, though. I don't want to think about that disaster in 01.
Well, there's some negatives to go along with the positives this week. Let's break it down overall. Tennessee versus Georgia. Obviously, Georgia comes out firing on all cylinders right off the bat. Not unusual for this season for the Volunteers. Just amazing. But I think a big difference was the fact that Georgia came out running the football. And a lot of people were complaining because Tennessee was showing the nickel formation. But what are you going to do? Who are you going to play at linebacker? You want Galton on the field. And I think that's why Georgia had success running the football. Do you disagree? Do you think our defensive line just didn't show up to play, or do you think it was a formation thing that Georgia had so much success running the football?
I don't think it was as much as the defensive line. It was our linebackers. I didn't.
Right. Well, you're like I said, you're in the nickel formation.
Yeah.
So you got 2 linebackers in there. That's a huge difference.
Yeah. I just didn't think Jumper or McDowell, either one, played very well at all. A lot of missed tackles, and their angles are horrible. Took very bad angles on a lot of those running plays, and watching the replay and just kind of zoning in on the line of scrimmage, I don't think Tennessee was getting blown off the ball. I'd like to see our defensive tackles be able to shed a block better than what they're doing. But I think a lot of those instances, the linebackers were there and they just whiffed, or they just couldn't wrap up. There's a ton of missed tackles. But now, everybody talks about Chubb from Georgia, but that Sony Michel, I mean, he was a 5-star. I mean, he's that guy would start for a bunch of colleges, even in the SEC. I mean, that guy. I mean, he's not a third string running back by no means.
I don't know how many times I said when we were texting throughout the game that if I was Chaney, I'd just hand the ball to that kid every down. What was he averaging in the first half? It was like 6-7 yards a carry.
It was, yeah.
I mean, you couldn't stop him.
Yeah, but he that's what I took away from the game. I didn't think that the defensive line played as bad as you might think with as many yards as Georgia gained running the ball, but it's almost the opposite of our offensive line. They were able to get to our linebackers, and of course I don't think our linebackers played exceptionally well themselves as far as their angles again and the tackling. But talking about our offensive line, you sit there and watch it, and they'll hold a block for a second, and then it's gone. That's their problem. They're not finishing their blocks. It's maddening to go back and watch the replays. There's actually holes there, but it just, by the time that Hurd gets there or Kamara gets there, there's a linebacker or a defensive tackle that has shed our block from our linemen and is keeping us from gaining a whole lot of yards.
Well, that leads me to say just how special is Josh Dobbs. I mean, how many plays did that kid make when the offensive line broke down? His touchdown right before halftime.
Well, that 3rd and 15 play before the touchdown, we were in 3rd down and 15, and he scrambles for that first down.
And he looks like he's walking.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even look like he's running. But the touchdown pass, he rolls to the right, nobody's open, he spins, he rolls back to the left, and he's just gliding towards the end zone. And he gets in and scores. And that touchdown was huge. You had to have points there. And that saved Butch from having to make a crucial decision. What would you do there? Fourth, you got a decision to make. It's 4th down, you're on the 1 yard line. What do you do? I'm so glad he did not have to make that decision, because the fan base would have been divided. Yeah, we were talking about it during the replay. It's like, what do you do? And I'm like, I have no clue. Do you run a quarterback sneak? If you get stuffed, it kills your momentum. You have to have points here. So it was so crucial for him to get in at that point in the ball game.
Yeah, and I'm just glad that they didn't have an angle that could actually see it, because I wasn't convinced that the ball actually crossed the plane while he was in the zone. I do not think he got in. But there wasn't, like you said, nope, it wasn't 100%. No. There's nothing you could say you couldn't tell
that it was 100%.
Yeah, you couldn't tell. But I'll go on record in saying, I know, Boogie, I know you've heard me many a time over the last three years complain about Dobbs and some of his accuracy issues and stuff, but I'll go on record right now and say that I'm full Dobbs. He has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that, to me, he's by far the most important player on this football team, and the kid is an absolute gamer. He thrives in those moments, and just watching that last drive there in the first half. I mean, getting that touchdown was absolutely huge, and the majority of that drive was him.
Snake's been on radio silence pretty much the last 7-8 minutes, so I'm going to bring him into this thing. We're going to talk about, this was on BallQuest, and I thought it was an interesting question on Gate 21, which is one of my favorite features on BallQuest. This whole, I'll meet you at Gate 21. Dobbs is the key to this offense. Dobbs is as important as who to the Tennessee offense? Pick a player. Casey Clausen, Eric Berry. Who comes to mind when you say Dobbs is the key to this offense? To me, I kind of agree with both of them. Is it Eric Berry or is it Casey Clausen? The kid's just a gamer. So when you go and look at important pieces to the Tennessee Volunteers football team, who would you compare him to in the last 10 to 15 years? Snake, you're on the clock. You're on the spot. Who would you compare him to when it comes to a key for this Tennessee football team?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, Eric Berry's the only one that comes to mind, because who else? Who else has stood out in the last 10 years?
Well, yeah, the other option, they went all the way back to Casey Clausen because the kid.
Casey Clausen, that's bad if you're pulling him. I mean, we were all Clausen fans, I think, at the time.
Oh, come on. Bad? Casey Clausen was the Iceman, dude.
No, he was good.
The kid was
he
a
beat
winner.
Florida twice, right?
He was a baller, man. He went out and executed I can remember sitting in the stands with you when Casey Clausen was a quarterback, and I would tell you multiple times, I said, I love the kid. I loved Casey Clausen, and I don't know how many times I told you, when he graduates, everybody will look back on him and say, I wish we had Casey Clausen under center. And that's the way it was, man. Yeah. The kid was a gamer. He showed up to win.
But I don't think that you can compare Dobbs to anyone else.
I think Dobbs is better than Casey Clausen. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
I don't know. I mean,
you would take Casey Clausen over Dobbs at this point?
No, I'm not saying. I would probably take Dobbs. I don't know if he's better than Casey. He's different. You can't. Yeah. It's hard to compare the two.
They're totally different quarterbacks.
But I don't think I can pick anybody else that I would say Dobbs is kind of like this guy to the team. I think.
I'm talking winning. I'm talking as a winner, as a gamer, as an MVP. I'm not talking about as a drop back passer.
I know. I mean, like a leader and a winner. I don't know. I could
Eric
throw
Berry.
Al Wilson in there if you want me to. I mean.
You got to go back a long time.
Way back, my man. But that's my point, man. That's my point. Is Dobbs is this football team. You know, so many people. Just think back to last year. How many people were criticizing that kid, right?
Well, some of it was deserved, but yeah, I mean, he's a gamer, and every game we've won, we pretty much come back and say, thank goodness we had Dobbs to come back and make a play. So
exactly.
That's pretty much the bottom line right there.
Oh, I think he's leaps and bounds over what he was, even last year. I mean, it's apparent that his passing has improved. There's no doubt about it. And like I said, I mean, he might go out Saturday against Texas A&M and throw 3 interceptions and cost us, and we lose the game. But I'm not going to critique him anymore. Well, I didn't say critique him, but I'm not going to down him anymore or anything like that, because for what he's done for this football team these first 5 games, I mean, he has literally at times put the team on his shoulders, and it was the Josh Dobbs show. I mean, that's all it was.
JP's on the Dobbs train.
I am. I mean, I respect the kid. Think he's a great person. Appears to be, and everything like that, and super smart. Yeah. I mean, I'm all Dobbs. Heck, I may go buy me an 11 jersey.
You look awesome in an 11 jersey.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and put that out there. Let's bring up some controversy, because that's what I want to do here on Talkin Balls, and I've been waiting all week to do this, to be honest with you. Let's talk about Mike DeBoard. JP, what you think of DeBoard's play calling this week?
Well, I think we just go back to what we just talked about. Josh Dobbs. I mean, he is the heart and soul of the offense, and when you take away or don't use his best attribute, which are his legs, it makes me question it. I mean, I don't know how anybody couldn't question it. It's just frustrating to me that he does not get a design run play at least once every 4 downs.
Every series.
Yes. I mean, it's just amazing to me that we still throw that darn pass out there, that swing pass. That play has not worked all year long. All it does is we either get blown up and nearly get somebody killed with it, or it goes incomplete, or we fumble it because our wide receivers they're not blocking it, or at least it's so predictable that every defense knows exactly what's coming.
Do you think – I've heard a couple different things about DeBoard. Do you think it's an issue where he comes out and runs a vanilla offense to try to see what the defense is doing and then dial up his game plan from that point on?
I like that.
Or do you think he has this game script that he follows and it doesn't work, and so then now it's time to change it. Because when you talk about running Dobbs, I agree with that. I'm not arguing with that. I think they need to run Dobbs a lot more than they do. But at the end of the day, I think DeBoer is a great play caller, and I think he's done a fantastic job this year and last year calling the offense. When you look at the overall picture and the overall numbers that the Tennessee offense has put up for 2 years.
Yeah, but I mean, again, the Georgia game, Dobbs ran 18 times.
Yeah, but how many of those were schemed runs?
He didn't have many
two,
of them. That
two
were,
or three.
Yeah,
2 or 3 maybe.
Well, how many
and
of
the
them
rest
are reads? How many were reads?
No. I'm talking 2 to 3 designed Dobbs runs. Everything else was off of, pass protection breaking down or whatever.
Yeah.
He did not have that many called runs.
And, we really don't have any way of knowing, how many times that he had the option to actually keep it versus handing it off. But
right.
I know if I was the coach of that team, to me, he would have the first opportunity to run it, and the second opportunity would be to hand it off.
Well, that's a read play. You can't tell him to keep it. It's got to be a read.
Yeah.
But I think there's too many times that it's a straight give.
That's what I'm saying.
It looks like the read option, but it's a straight give to Hurd up the middle. It's not a read play.
Yeah. Well, the dive play we know is not a read, but most of those other ones are reads, I think, and I'm not sure if he doesn't err on the side of handing it to the running backs. But you can't just take Dobbs and take him off around the end 15 times a game. It's just not really feasible, I don't think.
Well, I'm not even saying that, but he's hurt
quarterback draws and sweeps
with
him and stuff. I don't think you can do that.
I've seen him do it. I mean, he ran 18 times or almost 20 times against Florida.
Yeah.
It's every game that they come back. I mean, look at the Virginia Tech game. He finally starts running there. So, I certainly think that they can find design plays for him 15 or 20 times a game. But
what do you think? What do you think the problem is? Do you think the problem is keeping him healthy?
I wished I knew, because I wouldn't be sitting here so mad at Mike DeBoer I couldn't see straight.
Well, that's the problem. You'd fire Mike DeBoer tomorrow.
No, but
we argue about this every single week.
If I was Butch Jones,
I think
I would be
Mike
saying,
DeBoer is a great play caller.
If I was Butch Jones, I'd be saying, hey, what are you doing?
Whoa,
This is Butch. This is
whose
Butch's
team
baby,
do you
though,
think
right?
this is? Who do you think is making that decision? We talked about this today. I guarantee you, Butch Jones is saying, let's run Dobbs X number of times. That's why people got to be careful. They like to post this stupid Tecmo Bowl playbook on Facebook and Twitter and Mike DeBoer's playbook. This is not Mike DeBoer's playbook. It's Butch Jones's playbook.
Well, he learned it from DeBoer.
Mike DeBoer is doing the best he can with that playbook.
He's doing exactly what Butch wants him to do, but
exactly. So you can't tell me that Mike DeBoer is saying, "Well, I'm only going to run Dobbs 2 to 3 times." That's a Butch Jones decision. So let's point the anger and the frustration in the right direction. The man that has this Tennessee football team 5-0 right now, and you can go ahead and make your comment now.
I think DeBoer. I mean, when you're talking about, he would much rather the ball be in Jaylen Hurd's hands, I'm sure, than Josh Dobbs running.
Who wouldn't?
Running
Who
up
wouldn't?
the middle and
who wouldn't?
And then in the 4 and the 6 hole, but I don't know. I think he's done a pretty good job of play calling. Other than I hate 2 out of 3 times running the dive up the middle to a running back that's standing still when you hand it to him. And another thing I can't stand is when we got 1 yard to go, we're in the shotgun. We can't just line up and run it. That's what kills me.
Wears me out, especially with Dobbs at 6'3".
Right.
And the way
but
that
the board, it's kind of like, same thing's happening on defense. We're coming out and we're making adjustments and we're opening the playbook up a little bit and making some plays in the second half. It's, if I don't know. I like what you said earlier, Boogie, about DeBoer calling some plays and reading the defense, see what happens in the first half, and then making some adjustments. It might be what's happening.
Well,
I don't know. I'm not claiming credit for that. I saw it on the Ball Quest message boards, and I thought that's a pretty interesting point, to be honest.
Well,
I mean,
but my
I don't
personal
know.
opinion on that is, what's he doing throughout the week as far as film study? I mean, most of the time you see these coaches and they script, the first 15 or 20 plays. Depending on, they're not maybe have to change it up depending on if they get in bad field position or something like that. But I think coming out and running a vanilla offense for the first 2 quarters.
No,
personally,
I don't think he's doing that
I think
on purpose.
that's absolutely crazy.
But look at the script last year. They seem to have more success with the script last
Starting
year
out.
versus this year.
Yeah, I know.
It's a complete opposite. So it's almost mind-boggling. It's like what's the difference between last year and this year?
It might be
Go ahead.
the offensive line play too. I mean, there's not much he can do till the offensive line kind of gets rolling. It seems like it takes them a while to even get their heads on straight.
Well, it's weird. I thought the offensive line at times, man, they look like All-Americans. They drop back and form a pocket, and Dobbs can step up and make a good throw. And at times, it looks like the 3 of us out there trying to form a pocket. Just complete chaos.
Yeah, and we can talk about the offensive line or the play calling and stuff, but to me, the bottom line with Tennessee's slow starts this year revolves around their turnovers, or not necessarily the turnovers, just the fumbles, creating negative plays, and the drop passes that they've had. To me, that's just drive killers, or a penalty that sets them back. I mean, I forget, it was in the first quarter Saturday, and they got a pretty decent run on first down. I think they actually picked up a first down, and the very next play was that darn swing pass to Josh Smith. He caught it and slipped as soon as he caught it, but he was going to get lit up anyway. The defensive back was right there waiting because he knew what was coming, and it was 2nd down and 12, and the drive went nothing. And it's so many times, if you get behind the chains, especially early in the downs, Tennessee hasn't proven a lot that they can make that up.
I'm looking at my notes here for the Georgia game before we get into Texas A&M here. We talked about Colton Jumper. How ridiculous is it that the kid had 11 tackles this week? As we talked about poor linebacker play. The kid still had 11 tackles. Malik Foreman, he had the huge interception, and then he turns around on the play that there's not a person that's a UT fan that didn't think that was the game killer. The game was over. He quit on it, right? I mean, so many people can question, why are you in cover 2 man? That doesn't matter.
He had him covered. He was
perfect coverage, and he just quit. He quit.
He could have had his 2nd interception in the game.
He just quit on it.
Yeah, well, I think the wide receiver kind of stopped, and I think Foreman, just for a split second, stopped himself to look back.
He stopped and looked back, and by the time he turned back around, the ball was in the end zone.
Yeah.
He didn't. He was beat.
Yeah.
Something I want to talk about before we move on to Texas A&M is Jaylen Hurd. What happened in the second half? Why is he on the bench? Is it an injury? Is it he's in the doghouse? What exactly happened? Because what's confusing to me, if you want to say he's in the doghouse, why was he in on the touchdown pass that he caught there in the second half? And he was also in on the hands team kickoff return. So what happened there, JP? You got any insight? Was Hurd in the doghouse, or was he hurt? What's going on with Jaylen Hurd?
I don't think he was hurt. That's just my theory about it. Here's what I think happened. And actually, I've got the replay on right here, and he just scored that touchdown.
He's breaking down film live here on Talkin VAWLS, baby.
He just scored that touchdown. But my theory is I think he went over to the sidelines and said something smart.
Did he give a throat slash? Because I saw that he gave a throat slash to the Georgia fans.
I don't know if that's what it was, or I don't know if he said something to Butch or another coach, because the way he got chewed out. But he was over there holding his head, so I don't know.
A kid doesn't get hurt and go to the bench and no trainer comes to him.
But my
That doesn't
theory
happen.
is that he said something and it made Jones and them mad, and he was like, "Fine, if you want to be that way, then you can watch this game from the sideline." So that's what I think happened. I don't think he's hurt, but I could be wrong.
We all want to say that he set him out because he was mad at him, right?
Yeah.
Because what happened in the first quarter, I guess so.
Yeah.
Was it
I would have
first?
loved to had him in there at the end of the game when you had 3 downs to get a first down, right?
Yeah.
And
Don't
you
even
gave it to Kamara.
Don't even get
Yeah.
me started on that series.
Oh, well, we're going to talk about it right now because we had a conversation before that series took place, and you said you run the ball 3 times, but then you were upset when they ran the ball 3 times. So, Mr. Bank Manager,
What would you have called
do?
right now? What would you have called?
Yeah, what would you have done? Because I know what you would have called.
Swing
We talked-
pass?
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do? You got 3 downs. They have 2 timeouts. What do you do? Because I told you before, you run 3 times and punt the football. What do you do? What do you do now that the game's over?
I think you take advantage of their aggressive run blitzing that they know that they're going to do, and I think you do something as a misdirection to try to get it going. And let me tell you what, one thing that you definitely do is you let Josh Dobbs run the ball at least one of those 3 times. I mean, that is just, to me, just flat out just bad coaching right there. That's just flat out bad coaching. How that you cannot let your best playmaker have the ball and at that point in time. I mean, I wasn't saying pass the ball. I mean, I wouldn't have been mad if they did something.
But a lot of
try
people,
something
it's
safe.
easy. It's easy to sit back now when the game's over.
But we saw it
and
too
say,
many times last year. I mean, it cost us games
no.
last year.
I'd have thrown the football. I'd have caught a slant. I'd have caught a play action, thrown it deep. I'd have done this. I'd have done that. But when the game's on the line, we're all sitting back. I'd run the ball 3 times and punt. It's what I'd do. It's easy. It's easy to go back and criticize when the game's over. But you know what? 90% of the coaches in America run the football 3 times and punt. When you got a punter like Trevor Daniels, you punt the football because he's a weapon. And you play that field position game because your defense has played well. And, yeah, you can look back at it now and say, well, Easton threw a touchdown pass. Well, yeah, but if Malik Foreman just holds his coverage, none of that matters. None of that matters. So I don't disagree with the way DeBoard or Butch called the game. Run the football 3 times, burn their timeouts, and punt the football. Snake, what would you do in that situation?
I'd run it 3 times, like you said. I wouldn't have been mad if they tried to run some kind of safe route for a few yards.
Maybe a run pass option.
An RPO, right? Yeah.
Oh, man, you're getting crazy on me.
First down, he tried to run some kind of sweep with Kamara, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, they ran it straight up the middle, I think, a couple times. But I don't know if you can run some kind of counter because if you get blindsided, you're 3 yards deep. If you don't block the back end or something like that, I don't know.
Well, we put our running back 7 yards in the backfield anyway because they're in shotgun, so it takes them,
Well, they get the ball
5 yards
still
to get
is
to the
what
line.
kills me.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, yeah. But
Well,
you can't
man,
line up.
you
You can't
said-
line up in I formation and run 11, 12, 11. You know what I mean? You can't just run Dobbs up the middle 3 times.
You sound so pissed, JP, with that they're in shotgun. But that's this offense. Right now, if you had the decision, would you fire Mike DeBoard? I mean, honestly,
It's not
would
going
you
to
fire
matter
him?
firing him because I'm not stupid.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
this
It's Butch
is
Jones' offense.
It is.
Yes.
It is, but I don't have to agree with the offense,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to change my allegiance and start pulling for Georgia because they
No, I'm not
they
saying
got
that.
Jim Chaney who likes to throw the football or something like that.
I gotta agree. I mean, I don't like Butch's Cincinnati kind of second tier kind of offense. I mean, I don't really like that.
I don't know. We're all on different pages because I get so pissed off. I'm so sick of hearing the people complaining, and Tennessee is undefeated. It's like, what do you want? Do you want to bring Dooley back? Do you want that pro-style? Let's bring Dooley back and run a pro-style offense and suck. Let's just do that. I don't understand the complaints.
We're averaging 33 points a game, right?
Yes. So
you're
what's the
averaging over 30
problem?
points a game.
What's the problem? I don't understand.
And you're
And it's
5-0.
it's not you guys. It's across the board.
Yeah.
So many people complain about it, and Tennessee is playing the best football that they've played in a decade. So what's the problem?
Yeah, I think the problem is in the first half when we're running these dive plays with Hurd and we're getting no yardage.
But we're talking about the fourth quarter. We're talking about the fourth quarter with the game on the
that's
line.
what
It
I'm
ain't
saying.
got nothing to do with the first half.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People are getting frustrated with the play calling first quarter and second quarter, and then we're opening it up, making plays in the second half of the game, and I think people kind of forget about what's going on in the second half. They just kind of remember us kind of laying down in the first half. And hopefully, as the season goes on, we'll start making some more plays in the first half.
Well,
see, I think people just like to complain no matter what.
no,
that's what I think. I think people would complain no matter what. I mean, like I said, this Tennessee football team is undefeated, and people still want to find something to gripe about.
Well, we're not used to not. I mean, we're not moving down the field very well, right?
No,
we're not
this
averaging very many rushing yards.
But what'd you just say?
Passing yards.
This team's averaging 33 points a game, really? And
Yeah.
we're going to complain about that?
Yeah.
You got one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, and we're still complaining. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm just the sunshine pumper, and I don't get it. If I told you before the season the three best defensive players on this football team were going to be out, they're going to be out hurt. We're going to put up 33 points a game, and we're going to be undefeated. Are you okay with that? What would you say? Neither one of y'all can disagree with that.
I'm happy with where we are.
I mean, I'm ecstatic. I mean, I am 5-0. I mean, I am on top of the world. But you've
where do we
still
go from
got
here?
to, look at things to say, well, what can I do to get better?
To improve. I agree.
You just can't
I
be
agree.
complacent.
I agree.
The biggest beef that I've got with these being conservative play calling, when you've got trying to protect a lead, is if you go and watch a lot of football, whether it be college or pro, when these teams get conservative like that, I bet you more often than not it comes back to bite them. You have got to try to take advantage and end that game right then, or something like that is going to
easy to say that. It's easy to say that after the fact.
I mean,
but
I
what
don't
would you
think
say?
that's the
What would
situation.
you say if they came out and say they called a slant, right? Say they called a slant, Pat. Anything, whatever you want to call a slant, and Georgia jumps the route and picks it off.
Or Dobbs throws it behind him. Like he
The
does
first
half
thing
the
you're
time.
going to say is, why are we passing the football? You run here.
But
that's the first thing you're going to say because you're a couch quarterback. That's
I was
why.
not mad that they ran the ball 3 times. I just don't think that there is any type of imagination in those running plays. It is every time Tennessee has been in a situation like that where all they need to do is get one first down to ice the game. It's like we go ultra conservative, and last year it cost us, and other from being the miracle Hail Mary, it would have cost us again.
But no. You can say that. You can say that, but if Malik Foreman holds his coverage, it doesn't matter. You don't come down to the Hail Mary. You blame Malik Foreman. You don't blame running it 3 times. You ran it 3 times, you punted the football, and then Malik Foreman quits. That's who you blame it on, not the play calling. That's where we disagree.
Well, I mean,
it's easy to say, well, you pick up a first down, the game's over.
Is.
Well, you hold your coverage and the game's over.
Well,
how about that?
Yeah, but they are more likely to score on offense than they are on defense. You get 10 yards.
Their touchdown pass is no different than the Hail Mary.
You get 10.
It's no different.
You get 10 yards, and all you have to do is get in a victory formation, and you take a knee, and the ball game's over. But
what if you throw a pick?
I'm not saying pass it. I'm not saying just use some imagination.
I agree. I agree with that. I think they should have ran a Dobbs option there.
That's all I'm
we're
after.
on the same page.
That's all I'm after.
I'm on the same page. I just think the people out there calling for a pass, you got to throw the ball and get a first down. That's ludicrous.
I didn't.
I'm on board.
I wasn't
I'm
one
on
of
board.
those.
I'm not
fine.
even one of the people who says you run a Dobbs option because there's still some bad things that can happen if you run a Dobbs option. I mean,
There are, but
if you run a read option, you can make the wrong read. The guy that's not even getting blocked, this defensive end, can blow you up and you can fumble. If you run an option where you're actually pitching the ball,
but what
you
we
can make
say,
a bad pitch. They ran it around the end to try to do something different than just up the middle, and he got clotheslined and tackled, and then I don't know how many yards we got on that, but
I'm flopping here to devil's advocate because I'm on the same page as you. But with what JP's saying, the first 30 minutes of this podcast, all we talked about was how Josh Dobbs is the guy. He's the winner. He's the leader of this football team. So why not put the ball in his hands in that situation? I agree with that. I don't like the people out there saying, why didn't you throw the ball? And the worst case scenario is an incomplete pass and they have an extra timeout. That's ridiculous. I don't agree with that at all. But we're already in overtime here. We got to talk some Texas A&M because this is, during the Florida game we said the Florida game was
this is the season right here.
The Florida game was the game. Last week I went on record as saying if they beat Georgia, it's a lock. Well, throw that out the window because this is the game. They have to beat Texas A&M, right? They beat Texas A&M. It's what did we say before the season? Go 2-4 in this stretch. It's a great season, 10-2.
They've done it.
Well, they won the first two, but now we want more, right?
Yep. Yeah, we definitely want more.
Well, let's talk about Texas A&M because to me, this Texas A&M football team scares me way more. You guys, you want to pick Florida. You both picked Georgia to lose, right? We all agreed last week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well y'all both picked Florida. Let's go on record. I'm the only one that's undefeated here on Talkin VAWLS. But beside that, this Texas A&M football team scares me way more than Georgia and way more than Florida. I think they have more talent than both of those teams. JP, what do you think of Texas A&M going into this week? 3:30 CBS kickoff.
I think it's going to be a challenge.
How'd you like that?
Sure.
How'd you like that media plug? Just throwing it out there.
I think it's going to be a huge challenge. I think Texas A&M is the most complete team that Tennessee is going to face, offense and defense. They have a nasty defensive line. Not only is Garrett and that Hall really good on the ends, but their tackles are pretty stout too. So
is Myles Garrett versus Brett Kendrick what scares you more than anything? Because that's what terrifies me.
Yeah, all of that scares me, but I think it scares me with Jaylen Robertson and Jack Jones and all of them. I don't think any of them has played necessarily great football. I think that is a huge issue, and our tackling and pursuit to the football has to be leaps and bounds better than it was Saturday against Georgia. I watched some of Texas A&M's highlights. Of course, now I know it was highlights against South Carolina, and of course they only won 24-13, I think it was. So it wasn't like that they blew them out of the water, but they had I think 5 of their starters didn't even play between the offense and defense. So, but they've got tons of speed. That running back they've got, I think Tennessee recruited him. He looks quick as lightning. And
Travion Williams, the kid's averaging almost 9 yards a carry. Come on, really?
Yeah, he's tough. And of course they've got Trevor Knight, who we played, there against Oklahoma there in 2014. He was their quarterback then. He's not very accurate. I think he's only completing at 53% of his passes, but his legs scare me more than anything. I worry about us losing contain, and also the way that Barnett and Vereen likes to push up the field. If he has time to step in and evade, I'm worried the middle of the field will be open for him to dash around and pick up those key first downs.
What worries me about this team, when you look at SEC stats across the board, you look at passing, they're right in the top 3 to 4. You look at rushing, right in the top 3 to 4. Like you said, Trevor Knight, the kid's just a playmaker. He may not be the most accurate kid, but my gosh, Tennessee struggles with athletic quarterbacks, so he makes me nervous. We talked about Travion Williams. The kid is he's a stud, man. What can you say when you're almost averaging a first down per carry. That's insanity. Josh Reynolds at wide receiver, the kid's a playmaker. Again, you look at stats, and I know stats aren't everything, but when every single player is a Texas A&M kid at the top, it makes me nervous. Their offense is powerful. Their defense is solid. And you said it, man. I think this is the biggest challenge that this Tennessee football team may face all year, including Alabama, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, A&M is ahead of Tennessee basically in almost every stat there is. I mean, I think we're ahead of them. I think we're a little bit better in passing yards allowed at this point. But everything else, A&M, and their points differential is something like 23 or 24 points. Scored versus the defense held the other team to. So their wide receiver core, Christian Kirk, Ricky Seals-Jones, Josh Reynolds came out of nowhere, I think, as a 3-star.
Is it Speedy Noel? I think that's how his name is.
Yeah, Speedy Noel.
Now, Ricky Jones Seals, I'm not sure if he's playing though. He hurt his ankle pretty bad against Arkansas. He might be out.
I think he's questionable, isn't he?
Well, they haven't. Evidently, Sumlin is worse than Butch when it comes to injuries because he told them either yesterday or today that there would be no updates on any of their injured players whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, Garrett didn't play last week either. He's got, I think he's got an ankle that he hurt against Arkansas as well. So,
Well, this is going to come down to us stopping the big plays, I think, on defense, and on offense. I think we're going to have to come away from a game with no turnovers, I think, to be able to pull this one off.
Well, when we talk about it week in and week out, Tennessee has to start fast. They've got away with it all year long. It's time to start fast. If they get behind to Texas A&M 14, 17 points, there is no comeback.
Yeah, stop the penalties and the turnovers in the first half, and let's see what we can do.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the drop passes.
Yeah.
The drop passes.
Yeah,
they have to execute from the 60 minutes of football. It's crazy to look at it and say, again, we talk about the 3 top defensive players being out. They've not put 4 quarters of football together yet, and yet they're still 5-0. That's mind-boggling.
No doubt.
What can this football team do if they put 4 quarters of football together? And the next 2 weeks are the times that they have to do it. But we're going into overtime here. Let's get into some predictions. Who wants to go first this week? I think this is the toughest game of the year. So who's going first? One of y'all is going first. I'm not. I'm sitting on the back burner here.
Oh, really?
I can go first because I just said basically my final talking points there just a second ago. Limit the turnovers. Hopefully we can limit the penalties and stop the big plays. Hold Trevor Knight in check. But so Boogie, the last 2 weeks I picked Tennessee to lose, right?
Did you pick him to lose to Georgia? I thought we all picked Tennessee to win last week.
I think I don't remember.
No, you picked them to win.
Yeah, you only picked them to lose to Florida.
Oh, that's right. I picked a big win for the Vols last week, didn't I? Well, that's
what we picked domination, and Tennessee dominated, right? I mean, we whooped them. There was no doubt. Never a doubt last week.
Yeah, never a doubt. Never a doubt till the Dobbs nail.
I posted on Facebook. All I posted was 5-0. Who's next?
Yeah.
People said I love the confidence.
That's the problem. We know who's next. But anyway, my pick for this week is Tennessee 24, A&M 32.
JP, what do you got this week?
Come on, DA. Come on.
Do you want me to go next?
It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna save you for last because you guys accuse me of being the homer. You know, every week you laugh.
We don't accuse you. You are.
You laugh at my pick. You laughed when I picked Tennessee to beat Florida. You laughed at my scores. You laughed when I said they were going to beat Georgia. No matter what I do, you laugh and call me a homer. And at this point, I'm 5-0. I mean, that's all it boils down to. Y'all are 4-1, and I'm 5-0. That's what it comes down to. This week terrifies me. Talent across the board terrifies me. I think people want to discredit Knight for Texas A&M and say he's not talented. He doesn't have an arm, but he's an athlete, man, and he reminds me a lot of Dobbs. Like you said, he's a gamer, man. He wins, and As much as I hate to say it, I think Tennessee loses this week. I think it's Texas A&M 31, Tennessee 28. I think they lose a close one. I hate to say it, but I've not felt good about this game since the moment the clock struck 0 against Georgia. I've not felt good about this game. I feel better about the Alabama game than I do this game. So I'm gonna say Texas A&M 31, Tennessee 28.
I can't believe you,
JP.
Boogie.
What do you got?
That's just my pick, man. I hope I'm wrong.
I can't believe it either. This is like, I mean, it's like your lucky underwear. You can't.
I'm gonna wear my lucky red and white draws on Saturday.
You can't change your pick at this point, right?
But you know what else makes it wrong is I'm going to JP's on Saturday, and we never win when I watch a football game at JP's house.
Oh man,
you can sit in the other room.
You know what I'm going to do, Boogie? I'm going to break out the 98 hat.
There you go. There you go.
You need to.
Whatever it takes.
I thought you were wearing that thing all year long. My gosh, how they've been winning.
It's been stuffed down the back of my pants all since the season started.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing. I've got this gray Tennessee shirt that I really like, and I wear it all the time. But I've had it for 5 or 6 years, and we've lost so many ball games.
Burn that thing.
Yeah. Well, we have lost so many ball games with me wearing that shirt, because I remember I had it on last year for the Florida game, and we gave up that touchdown, and I remember going in there in the bedroom and just ripping it off and changing into just a regular shirt. I was so mad. But
you need to wear that ugly Tennessee football shirt you've worn every week this year.
Hey, that's what I put on.
Straight out of the 1970s.
That's what I was getting at. Halfway through the fourth
I'm
quarter.
going to have to bleep that, dang it.
Halfway through the fourth quarter, I went in to the bedroom and put my Go Big Orange shirt on, and we came back and won that game. So,
dude, that's the moneymaker. That's the moneymaker shirt, man. So that goofy helmet that looks like it's Tecmo Bowl.
I have decided that I will never watch another game in that gray shirt ever. I'll wear it through the week when they're not playing.
Hey! That Florida game, you asked for your time to shine. You said you wish you could go back. Now is your time. Now is the time to shine. Give us your pick. God, don't mess this up, please.
Tennessee is going into College Station, and they're going to play 4 quarters of Tennessee football. They are going to put it together offensively for 4 quarters, and them Aggies are going to be crying the blues. Big Orange, 42, Texas A&M, 38. We are talking shootout style. We are talking shootout style offense. Texas A&M are going to think that they're back in the Big 12. But that's
what I'm talking about. Tell them, JP.
John Chavis against a running quarterback, enough said.
Chavis.
Go Big Orange.
Third Chavis, baby. I'm on board. I'm not
Chavis.
Third Chavis all day long. I don't think I can say anything to top it. I think we need to wrap this thing up. Anybody got any parting words they want to drop on
the Vol Nation? To A&M.
For 60
friggin' full minutes.
60 minutes. If this team shows up and execute for 60 minutes, then I'll eat crow next week. But as of now,
we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
I think I'm going to go eat some fried chicken. That's what I'm going to do.
Go Big Orange.
Snake, you got anything you want to drop on Vol Nation before we get out of here?
Nope, I'm done.
That's going to wrap this thing up. For JP and Snake DA, my name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
Jack Kerouac, each